fellow says the following. He says, look, I see your shorts on YouTube and I appreciate your efforts. However, convincing the public should not be your main objective. You are not the literate priest. We live in a very critical time. You can use scientific peer-reviewed journals. I get that. You can't use, these scientific journals. I get that, but you can make YouTube videos. Great. Target the so-called scientific-minded. He wants me to talk to the physics crowd, mathematical physics crowd, I guess he's referring to. Don't make fun of them. Just challenge them over and over again until they are forced to deal with you openly and honestly. I like that, openly and honestly, especially that part. You got the right argument, just not the right bait, my friend. Well, thanks for the recommendation, okay? I'm not sure I'm going to take it. I've been at this for 26 years now, since 1998, okay? And about 2008, I think I started with my YouTube channel, so that's 16 years there. And no, you're shadow banned to some degree. I have to believe that because the word doesn't get around, so there's got to be some of that. I have to accept that after so many years. That's one issue. The other issue is that, these people, these celebrities, they take up all the spots, all the spotlights, right? They hog up all the viewers. And so they don't give a chance through YouTube, at least, through videos, to reach the public, the general public. And so the general public always looks up the same names. They look up, Neil Tyson and Sean Carroll and so on, people who are popular today. And here you see them. These are the celebrities of today, okay? You can recognize some of them there, okay? And the issue here is that, all these people, they're clowns. And you might say, Bill, you're insulting them. Why are you telling us that they're clowns? And the issue is that they're clowns because they're not scientists. They're in the entertainment business. That's the issue. Okay, these people are stand-up comedians. They're there to make money on entertainment, keeping people who think these people are scientists busy thinking that they're scientists when they're not. What these people talk about is poppycock. Everything that comes out of their mouth is irrational, okay? And so, you've got this world out there where you've got all these mathematicians just telling people out there, what they think, their opinions, and their opinions are all alike because that's what they were told in college, that space is warped and a particle can be at two places at once and so on. That's what they tell you. And you say, that doesn't sound rational. And they say, well, yeah, we know. We don't understand it either. And they keep telling you that, but we know it all. We've got all these equations, and the problem is equations can describe some phenomenon. It cannot tell you the why, the cause, the mechanism that underlies such a phenomena if the mediator is invisible and intangible, which is a case of gravity, light, magnetism, and so on. So this is where the problem is. Here we are, 2,500 years after the Greeks dabbled in so-called physics, and we don't have any rational explanations for anything. That's where the problem is. And I've been fighting these people for a long time. And when I started out with my theory, I went out there to several forums. I think 3 of them at least, high-level forums, where some of these people talk about some of the quantum and general relativity stuff. And I got in there. One of them, in fact, was managed by people very close to Stephen Hawking. And I just couldn't believe the backlash. They were ridiculing me, and I went in there, not insulting or anything. I went in there saying, hey, guys, look, let me show you a different view, a different way of seeing the universe. And boy, all I got was, okay, I got beat up. I got thrown up. Oh, they throw all the rotten tomatoes and rotten eggs at me. So, I wasn't treated very well. And so, that's where it all started. And then as time went on, after 26 years, I can tell you for sure, without a shadow of doubt, these people will not listen to you. They're in a different world. They've been brainwashed to believe in math, and that math is the solution. It's the holy grail, so to speak, to finding out what gravity is, what light or how light is, or how it behaves, etc. They think it's all through math. And so you're not going to go in there and tell them about qualitative stuff. They're not even going to listen to you. And the fact that all their magazines, all their so-called scientific magazines of physics and so on, the fact that all have the same format. In other words, you got to give them some equations. That's what they want to see. They want to analyze equations. And here you come in there and say, look, I'm going to tell you how this universe works. Forget about your equations. I just want to tell you how the universe works. No measurements, no equations, just this is how it works. This is what's out there. And they don't even allow you to publish that so easily. I mean, I was able to publish finally in IEEE, right? But it's like nobody reads it because it's out there in one little corner of the world, right? Nobody sees the paper, and so they don't read it and doesn't get around. And so this is part of the problem. The problem is you're censored on one hand simply by not being one of the celebrities there that are talking to the public. That's one issue. People who have become famous, like some of these guys, Neil Tyson and Sean Carroll and so on, Brian Greene. That's one issue. The other issue is that they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to listen to you because they don't want to hear qualitative stuff. Qualitative stuff is stuff that they give to the public. They don't want to receive backlash. In fact, a couple of them say, hey, if you're going to tell me that quantum or general relativity are wrong, or that it's irrational and can't be understood, don't tell us that. We know that. We already know it's irrational. We don't understand it either. We do math, and we tell you what the math, in the best way we can with our words. We're going to tell you what the math tells us and how we interpret it, and that's what we feed you. But don't ask us to be, don't take the analogies so literally. So these are the answers you get, okay? And so you get the runaround. You never get an answer. They don't understand how this universe works, but they say they measured it, they got the equations to prove it, and that they know everything. And the worst part about it is that they're extremely arrogant. Extremely arrogant. That's why I have very little respect for mathematicians on planet Earth. I will never apologize to them. I think I'm more arrogant than them. I want to be more arrogant than them. I want to be the king of arrogance. When a mathematician comes to me with his arrogance, I want to shove it up his nose holes. And, you get these relativists here, and they laugh at the flat earth. And they look at what these guys say. Look, they've got the moon and the sun and the flat earth. And they laugh at them. They ridicule them, okay? Okay, fine. Lots of us do that. I do that too. But what do they propose in exchange? Well, they propose the flat universe. This is what they propose. This is how they illustrate the universe. This is the idea they have. Or who knows what kind of idea they have in their minds, because they talk about the flat universe. They never define flat. They never define universe. They never define space. They don't know what space is, as we'll see today. And so you don't even know what they're talking about. They don't even know what they're talking about. So this is where it all starts. Okay, so yeah, this is the flat universe theory. Take it or leave it. Okay. So what do we have here? Well, these people have ended up with irrational explanations over the years. And you see something like this, for example. Where did it go here? You see something like this. And they say, look, this is how gravity works, okay? You have the Earth going around the sun weighs down the, what? The canvas? What canvas? What you're staring at is number lines, which they call dimensions. They're not dimensions at all. What they are is number lines, because that's all that mathematics deals with. And they say, well, this is the reason the Earth doesn't fly out of the solar system. This is what they illustrate. Okay, and you say, well, hold it, you're bending number line, you're bending time. What sense does that make? And they say, well, we don't understand it either. And besides, you're taking the analogy too literally. Well, hold it. I mean, here you're illustrating the notion you have in your brain, which is that the Earth doesn't fly out of the solar system because there's a warped wall of dimensions, of time, of space-time, or whatever. There's a warped wall that prevents the Earth from flying out, so the Earth can only, roll around or slide around. And so this is very clear what they're illustrating here. This is the mechanism of gravity they have for the cosmos. They say, these big masses like the sun, they weigh down the canvas, and the objects such as planets and asteroids and so on, satellites, moons, none of them can fly out because they've got this wall around them that they must travel around. And so another problem here is that, this Earth is, rubbing its shoulder against those dimensions. So how come it doesn't slow down? I mean, you would think if it's scraping itself constantly against the edge of this space-time thingy, how come it doesn't slow down? How come we that are on its surface don't get crushed between the Earth and this space-time thingy? I mean, we should be squashed between them, flattened out. And so there's too many problems with this interpretation. This is absolute poppycock nonsense what you're staring at there. And again, the only thing they can offer you is to tell you, hey, don't take the analogies too literally. You're making too much of what we're illustrating. Well, yeah, physical theory you should be able to illustrate. You should be able to tell me a mechanism. If I tell you, how did you pull the donkey? You say, well, I tied a rope around the donkey's neck, pulled from the other end, and you can see the whole thing. There's no problem. We understand it all just by watching, saying, okay, we know how the donkey moved from, the barn to the corral, right? We can see it there. And these people, no, they say, look, you're taking the analogy too literally. There it is. You gave me the picture of what you have in your mind, of what your equations tell you. That's not how the universe works, because there are too many problems with your illustration. It's not an issue of saying don't take the analogy too literally. It's that, what should I understand by your illustration? Why did they even take the trouble of illustrating it if they cannot put it into words? If they can't put it into words, they should just say, look, you want to understand this stuff, you just got to take math. But instead of saying that, they go on the circuit, on the talk circuit, right? They go on TV and they give you this show, this circus where the clowns, like Brian Greene and Sean Carroll and Neil Tyson, Bill Nye and so on. They go out there and they tell you, how this universe works. And it's all poppycock. And yeah, because these are clowns. They're entertainers. They're not in the science business. But if they were in the science business, they would tell you, the theories of how it works. But they don't know how it works. So what are they going to tell you? Are they going to put an equation up there and say, look, here's the equation, Einstein's equation. This is how we derived it. Nobody is going to watch them. So they say, no, we got to entertain the crowds. And so they say, look, you got black holes and you fall into one, you get spaghettified. And man, and people say, hey, I love that, flashy stuff. They show the asteroid being strung out, and so on. It's all show. It's all nonsense, poppycock. None of that has anything to do with the reality out there. None of it. And you can imagine if overnight someone were to overthrow all of mathematical physics, well, that would 100 years of research, mathematics, equations, measurement, etc., would go down the drain suddenly. It would be a catastrophe throughout the earth. in all think tanks out there, all university, all of it would be overhauled. So let us hope, for the sake, God, please don't let that happen, because I don't know what would happen to all the mathematicians. They would be hung, each one of them at dawn. Okay, so you saw what gravity is, and so now we're going to ask, a prominent fellow here, what is gravity? I mean, we just saw what gravity is, right? It's the bending of space-time, of these number lines, and very straightforward what gravity is. So here we have one fellow, and he tells us what gravity is. Listen carefully, okay? Here goes.
We can describe gravity. We can say what it does to other things. We can measure it, predict with it. But when you start asking, like, what it is, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What it is, I don't know.
So what is gravity? He says he doesn't know. This is one of the clowns that is in the entertainment business. And we just saw what gravity is. It's the bending of space-time. Why didn't he just say that? It's the bending of space-time. Well, because nobody understands that. Because space-time is a bunch of coordinates, as they say. It's a bunch of number lines. That's what it really is. And what kind of explanation is that? There's no explanation there whatsoever. So they can't tell you how the universe works. They have no idea what gravity is. And gravity has, stumped them now for thousands of years. But the worst part is that they're so arrogant. Here you have one fellow, and his name is Sean Carroll, and he's going to tell us, what's out there, all these fields, as he calls them, that are out there. But I want you to listen to his tone. He's so arrogant. He's so cocky. He knows it all. He's a mathematician. He studied 10 years. He knows all those equations. He's super arrogant. And what's so funny about it, really, it's ironic that, these people are talking absolute poppycock. If tomorrow they get caught, in their lies, I don't know what's going to happen to them. They're going to be lynched. So here goes. Listen to Sean Carroll tell you about fields, W.C. Fields or something like that. Here it goes.
Is light, for example, a particle or a wave? A wave is sort of a vibration in a field. So what's the answer to this? This is the answer. It's fields. It's not a mystery. They always tell you that question. They never tell you the answer. You need to stop thinking of the world in terms of particles. You need to start thinking of it in terms of fields. There are particles in the world. No, there aren't. That's the secret that we physicists have never told you, but here I am, I'm going to tell you right now. The world is made of fields, but quantum mechanics says when you look at the world, you don't see it directly. So the reason you think that there are particles is because there are actually all of these fields filling empty space. At every point in space, there's dozens of little vibrating fields in front of you. But quantum mechanics says that when you look at the fields closely enough, they resolve into individual particles. Quantum mechanics says you look at that light very carefully and it turns into individual particles called photons. Photons are the particles that you see when you look at a wave in the electromagnetic field. The reason why light resolves into photons is because quantum mechanics says that when you look at it, that's what you see. The relationship between particles and fields is that fields are what the world is made of, particles are what you see. So the atoms in this table, the electrons, the quarks, the protons, these are all vibrations in fields. There's a quark field that is vibrating. You look at it, you see quarks. There's an electron field that is vibrating. There's a neutrino field that is vibrating. There's a gravitational field that is vibrating, and so on and so on. That's quantum field theory. It is the very heart, the central organizing concept of modern physics.
Okay, so it's all fields. But I hope you listen to his cockiness, his arrogance. It's just outrageous. These people say they know it all. When you ask them how the universe works, they say, well, we don't understand it, but we measured it and here are the equations, so we know it all. And then they can't answer a single question. And so it's all show. It's all entertainment. These people are clowns. They're not scientists. Not what you see every day in YouTube or, on TV or wherever. And here you get an example, some idiocy that came out this week. I mean, do we really want to put up with this for the rest of eternity? Here, look at this. It says, scientists say wormholes are secretly altering our reality. Wormholes are affecting your reality. So, they have articles like this in prominent magazines, right, that supposedly represent the scientific world. And this is the type of information you get every day. This is freely available to everyone. And so this is, you got to think about whether you want to keep staying in this, mental institution that we call mathematical physics that gives you all this garbage, where they can't answer a single question and so on. So yeah, I've been fighting these people for so long, and I'm going on 72 this year. I can't even walk right now. My left leg, left knee is swollen, so I probably need another operation. I've had like 6 or 7 of them, and so I don't have anything to lose by ridiculing these people. In fact, that's what I believe in. I think that right now I'm just going to have fun for whatever time I've got left. I don't think I'm going to reach the age of 90. Please don't let me reach the age of 90, And I don't even know if I'm going to make it to 80, right? But, this is what I think. I say all these big name celebrities spit up poppycock and garbage, okay? So there's no peace treaty that we can sign, okay? They're never going to listen to me. They haven't listened to me in the past when I went to them, Clark Kent-like, mild-mannered and so on. They're never going to listen to me, so it's not going to happen. I'm not going to cater to them. I'm not going to treat them nice. It's the other way around. I'm going to bash them as much as possible, especially ridicule them, because I want that to be left when I leave. When I leave, maybe some young people might take over and they might carry their vengeance out. Okay, that's all I can hope for. I'm not concerned about convincing the establishment. Either they prevail and humans go extinct in utter ignorance of how this universe works, because they have the unlimited funds pouring in, they have resources, control of the press, think tanks all over the world. I can't fight all that. I'm just a little guy compared to them. I'm a little ant fighting a herd of elephants, right? Or they are utterly destroyed overnight. If it happens that all these people are, the emperor is shown to be without clothes. Well, I don't know, 100 years of quantum mechanics, relativity, and we can include string theory there as well, all go down the drain suddenly, overnight. And all these mathematicians are ridiculed out of existence. And that's my only hope. So I don't hold it back. The way I look at it, if you can't beat them, well, then you ridicule them. Okay? So, can't beat them, ridicule them. That's the way I look at it. Okay? And at my age, after all of what I've done out there, I'm not concerned, Quite the contrary. I'm going to have fun with this all the way to the end. Okay? So, I'll take that recommendation with a grain of salt.